We have Friendly Chat up and running now. It's great, but it's pretty bare bones. The basic interface is showing up, but there's no real functionality yet. But this is awesome! There's plenty to do, so let's get to work. To start, let me give you a quick tour of the app. Down here, we have a text box and a send button. But when I type in a message and press send, send clears the text box, but our message isn't really going anywhere. On the left, there's also this little image icon. Clicking on this image icon should open an image picker so that we can choose an image to send in the app, but that doesn't quite work yet. We've also got an overflow menu up here, which has one option, sign out, but the sign out button doesn't do anything either. You'll be working with me to make this app a lot friendlier than it is now. And of course, to do that, we're going to need to work with the code. So let's jump over there. I'm going to start by opening up the Android manifest file. We can see that the app has a single activity, which is called main activity. The main activity is what's opened when you launch the app. This is a pretty simple app, so you'll be fully implementing all of the features from this single activity during this course. Next, let's check out what we currently have in the dependencies. I'm going to open up this tab and go over to our Gradle files. I'm going to check out the apps build.gradle. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see the place where all of our apps library dependencies live. Right now we have standard ones like AppCompat and the design support library. We've also included Glide, which is an image loading library that we'll use to help us display images in our message list. You're going to learn more about that during Sunday's lesson. Next, let's head over to the res directory and take a look at our layouts. Here we have two layout files. I'll start by opening up the main activity layout file, this activity.main.xml. This is the screen that we first see when we run the app code at this moment. We just don't see this message list here, and that's because we haven't implemented that functionality yet. The layout is a relative layout made up of a list view to display all the messages, an image button to open up the photo picker to send a picture, an edit text, which is again the text box that you send your message from, and a button, which is our send button. The second layout of importance to us is this item message.xml layout. I'll open it up now. This is the layout for each individual message, and scrolling down, I can see that it contains an image view for photo messages and two text views. One of these is a text view for a text message, and the other one is a text view for the author of the message. For each message in our app, only the message text view or the photo image view will be displayed at one time. The logic for whether to display an image view or a text view is done in the adapter, which we'll work with later in the course. And speaking of the adapter, let's go ahead and take a look at those Java classes. We have 3 classes in our project. Let's open up the first one, the friendly message class. The friendly message class is a plain Java object that just has 3 fields: a text, a name, and a photo URL. We'll be using this class when we actually start to implement the database. Next, let's take a look at the main activity. Our main activity is where the magic happens. It's the class that handles the logic for the main messages list screen. Let's take a look at a couple notable parts of this class. Here I've defined a list view for the messages list, and if I scroll down to my onCreate, I see that we're creating an array list here that's filled with those friendly messages objects, and this array list is going to be the data source for our message adapter, which is called mMessageAdapter. Right now the array list is empty, so we don't see any messages. Another interesting part of the main activity deals with the edit text view. Let me scroll down. Here we have our edit text view, and we're adding something to it called a text watcher. This makes it so that we can't press send for empty messages, which is what we'd expect from a chat app. We don't want to fill up our database or our messages list with blank messages. Okay, so that was a very quick deep dive into some of the starter code. Again, we'll talk about the adapter later. Following this, I have a quick quiz to make sure that you are paying attention. And then after that, you'll get to start working on your first Firebase feature, the real-time database.